Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Replay Mega Man X4. In the last part we started off the game, took out Magma Dragoon in the process, and now it's time for our next Maverick. If I press X, thank you. He protects the secret weapon which lies inside the snow base. He's... I always like that announcer guy for some reason. Hey, look who it is! How you been, Blizzard Buffalo? Yeah, Frosty Walrus' stage actually has a couple Easter eggs hidden throughout if you pay attention. As you probably noticed there, I am now cutting out most, if not all, of the load times, so yeah. Use Rising Fire there to get the Heart Tank, by the way. That is pretty much one of the only uses for Rising Fire, other than, weakness of 2 bosses. Or maybe 3 bosses, I think 2. Yeah, I think it's 2. Now, these spikes here are instant death, so watch out for that. Also, I forgot to mention last part, when we got the foot parts, that they also give us the air dash, so now we can do that again. And yet, for some weird reason, the air dash does not allow us to dash upwards this game, even though it did in the last, back in X3 and Extreme 2. There's an item up there, but we can't get that until we get Web Spider's weapon, so we're gonna have to leave that alone for a while. Now, I gotta say, I love Frosty Walrus' theme. Actually, Mega Man X4 here does something similar to Sonic 3 Knuckles, where each half of a stage has a slightly different song. I really like it when games do that for some reason. Sonic 3 Knuckles use that to a great effect, especially. Anyway, get out Rising Fire, because this mini-boss is weak to it. Hey, I see Chill Penguin in that block of ice there. How you been, buddy? Anyway, this random claw ice thing is weak against Rising Fire. It does quite a bit of damage against him. He actually has a couple of forms. He has this claw fist form, which he can either use to charge at a wall, or he'll go up in the sky like he does right now, and slam down, causing some of the icicles to fall. After a while, he'll melt his icy shell and go into the next form, which is this little star form. This star form bounces around the room very similarly to Armored Armadillo, and will then shoot off some of his spikes. However, if you use Rising Fire in the Buster effectively, he goes down really easily. And the second half of the stage is actually one of my favorite themes in the game, actually. The entire thing with this half of the stage has these little blocks of ice that break in about 2 to 3 Buster shots, and you need to figure out your way around the platform using these. Some of them contain Met-Tools, or Metars rather. Yeah, they're back, as usual. Some contain mines, and one in particular coming up has a certain special thing in it. I do have to say, I actually really like the way the ice looks, though. In fact, as I mentioned last part, X4 and 5 look great, even to this day, in my opinion. Anyway, there's the certain special something. That is a weapons tank. Now, whenever we collect spare weapon energy, and our weapon energy is full on all weapons, that'll get filled up as an extra little weapons tank that will refill our weapons. It's pretty much the W tank from the Mega Man games, actually. Now, that little bird you just saw a couple seconds ago, we're gonna see another one coming up here. I recommend you try and kill it as fast as possible. Why? Because if you fail to, like I do here and with another one later on, he freezes the area and the enemies, and that adds ice physics, which is never fun. Unless it's Xenoblade Chronicles, in which case the ice physics are the most hilarious thing ever. I think in my original playthrough, I got all 4 of them before they could freeze everything, but at least I showed it off. Anyway, we're already at Frosty Walrus. He is weak to Rising Fire, so get that out. Mind you, that's all I have at this point, so yeah. Jeez, you are a big guy.
There's such a kid like you after me? I promise to end this quickly.
Frosty Walrus is the first of the big ice-type bosses that are really, really slow. When you hit him with his weakness, he slides back towards the wall, but then slides back towards you. That's actually one of his attacks. Other than that, he has, I think, an icicle attack he likes to do. Later down when he's lower on health, he will use Ice Breath to summon icicles in the air, which will crash down. But if you abuse his weakness chain like this, he's really easy. Hit him with his weakness, dash away from him, shoot a charge shot, and then repeat ad nauseum. I will say, X does that a lot with the bosses. He makes the bosses really easy. As Zero, though, the bosses become a lot more difficult. But that was Frosty Walrus' stage. Nothing too bad. In fact, I actually recommend going after it here first if you don't like Magma Dragoon. And for beating him, we get, if I recall correctly, it's called Frost Tower. Yep. This is a very situational weapon. Pretty much X surrounds himself in a barrier of ice that can damage enemies. And he freezes himself in midair when he does it, so it's only useful against 2 bosses. Maybe 3. Anyway, time for our next boss. Or next level, rather. He destroyed the city and escaped to the sea. He's... I really like Jet Stingray's design, though his level is something else entirely. Welcome to my least favorite level in the game. We're on a jetbike throughout the entire thing, and as I mentioned back in Extreme 2, it's very similar control scheme. You press circle to dash with it, and you can shoot with it. In fact, even as Zero, you get a charge with it. However, it's also in here that we have probably one of the most brutal hard tanks to get if you miss it. Why? Well, let's take a look in slow motion. Got it. That is very easy to miss on your first playthrough if you don't know it's there. Dick move, Capcom. Anyway, pretty much everything damaged you in this section. You're gonna want to kill all the enemies, try not to blow up the bombs. The floor in this section is essentially a bomb for some reason. I don't get that. And that's the end of the first half of the stage. I'm not even joking. And the second half is pretty much the exact same thing. Except Jet Stingray himself will actually show up a couple times in here, but if you dash into him, you'll temporarily destroy him and cause him to retreat. For some reason, the dash is very damaging, and I don't get that. Also, I love Jet Stingray's second half of the stage theme. Then again, X4's soundtrack is just really good. Same with X5, and X6, even though it's a pretty crappy game, actually has probably the best soundtrack out of all of them. Anyway, we're coming up with the next collectible. Jump up here, and then air dash to get the first sub-tank. It's very likely you'll die doing that, though. Like Extreme 2, there's only 2 sub-tanks in this game, so yeah. Anyway, Jet Stingray's weak to Frost Tower, so get that out.
I'm impressed that you found me. But your search is over. Get ready, X.
Jet Stingray on his own is probably one of the harder Mavericks in the game. However, with his weakness, he is a joke. Especially if he flies into it himself. Pretty much, you can actually stun lock him into one corner if you just continuously do this. Attack-wise, you're going to get to see that a bit in the Zero playthrough, but he likes to summon little miniature stingrays at you. I think he can suplex you, actually. But honestly, I don't remember much of his attacks, because I always play as X in this game. I don't play as Zero often. So I guess you're going to have to wait until the Zero playthrough to see what his attacks are like. Sorry about that. Thankfully, though, not every boss is this easy to abuse their weakness with. Most of them at least get some sort of attack in. Mind you, I can see why they did this, because as I just mentioned, on his own, Jet Stingray is actually one of the harder Mavericks, if not the hardest in the game. So, yeah. But can you see why I call the Frost Tower situational at best? I do like the way the ice looks, though, and I especially like Jet Stingray's frozen sprite. That looks really cool. But that was Jet Stingray's stage. Boss is easy with his weakness, hard without it. Stage is kind of annoying if you don't know what to do with it. And for beating Jet Stingray, I think we get a weapon called the Ground Hunter. We shoot our own little miniature stingray out. It'll travel along the floor and then up any walls it encounters. And if you press down when it's in midair, it'll immediately go towards the ground. Because they fly at an angle, so yeah. Anyway, time for our next level. Who is this lovely gentleman right here? He defends the military train that protects the supply of goods. That's probably one of the more generic Maverick names, honestly. I mean, you got stuff like Jet Stingray, Magma Dragoon, Storm Owl later on in the game. Then we just got Slash Beast. Oh well. Slash Beast's level, visually, is actually one of my favorite in the game. We're on a train the entire thing. At certain points, certain Repliforce goons will try to blow up the train, and that one will actually stupidly fall off. The floor, or rather lack thereof, because when they blow the stuff up, everything below you is a bottomless pit, so watch out for that. Is instant death. I lost my train of thought for a second there, sorry. There are cannons that will try to shoot at you, however, if you know how to position yourself right, they'll pass right through you due to your square-ish hitbox. The boxes you can obviously destroy, however, the blue ones can only be destroyed by certain weapons later on. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for the first half. Though keep in mind the Repliforce logo for not only X5, but also if I ever get the opportunity to redo Zero Series, because my X3 playthrough hasn't gone up yet. Oh boy. Anyway, now time for a mini-boss, and one of the more annoying ones if you don't know how to cheese him. This little train thing here has 3 spikes in its front that like to charge out at you, and you need to destroy the things they come out of. They don't take that much ammo to take out, but they can still take a while. There's also a cannon up top you need to destroy. If you have the Nova attack from the Ultimate Armor, this boss is a joke. Then again, the entire game's a joke if you have the Nova attack. And even then, X4 is one of the easier in the series. Especially as X. As Zero, it's a bit more challenging. And that was the first half of Slash Beast stage. Nothing too bad at all, honestly. One little attention to detail I like, by the way, is that we're actually on the back of the train that we started the mini-boss on. And the second half of the stage is, honestly, the second verse same as the first. Aside from one tiny little part of it. Well, actually, no, 2 tiny little parts. So I guess one medium-sized part, then. The first part is that we now have a ride armor. You don't need this thing at all, in fact it's completely optional, but it can destroy the blue crates, though they block nothing. You can also destroy certain train cars, which is cool, I suppose. And you might think you want to destroy this one because the heart tank's in it, but no, the heart tank's actually at the top of it from the time you start off the level. You don't need the ride armor at all for it. Maybe the heart tank was supposed to be inside of a blue box? I'm not sure. That's a design choice I do question. Also, get used to this ride armor, by the way, because it's the one we're going to be using until X7. And once you reach this part of the stage, the train actually stops. Why? Well, there's kind of holes in the floor, so yeah. What happened to this railway to have this happen? Did we blow it up when we weren't looking? I mean, I know cool guys don't look at explosions, but that's just kind of ridiculous. And there's conveniently another train. Like in Mega Man 8, by the way, you can still fire your Mega Buster if you have a power equipped, just by pressing the triangle button. I don't take advantage of that often, though, because if I'm playing a Mega Man X game, I'm using the Charge Buster if I'm not fighting a boss. Or trying to get items. Anyway, time for Slash Beast. Get the Ground Hunter out. Where is he? Oh, wow, you're running fast, sir.
Challenging my units was both foolish and reckless. You're nothing more than my prey. One that is soon to be retired.
Slash Beast is also a fairly challenging Maverick if you don't have his weakness. He likes to charge from wall to wall, do these awesome little jump kicky flip things that will shoot the twin slasher weapon we're going to get out of him, actually. And he's actually a pretty annoying boss overall, honestly. If you have his weakness, though, he is much easier. Much, much easier. In fact, I think by hitting him with his weakness, he actually loses a couple of moves that he can use. But that was overall an easy stage, I have to say. The boss can be hard, but if you have his weakness, it's overall a a cakewalk, honestly. And for beating Slash Beast, we get one of the more useful weapons, I suppose. Twin Slasher, I want to say? Yep. X will shoot 2 pink little slashing things diagonally out of his buster, both to above him and below him. It's more used to get certain items, but it has its uses. Especially against the next Maverick we're going after. But first... Sir, it's a message from the Colonel. X, I'll wait for you at Memorial Hall. Make sure you show up on time. Sir, this must be a trap. Perhaps, but I won't run this time. When did you run the first time? Huh. Anyway, this is actually an X-exclusive thing. Zero doesn't do this at all. That's the Twin Slasher, by the way. Colonel, stop this foolishness now. Never. Colonel, please, think this over. The Rebel Force must be independent. Our battle will determine this.
Show me what you've got.
Colonel is actually a really fun fight as X. He only has 2 attacks. That's that little 3-slash thing which you can dash, jump, and dash over. And under, rather. And then he has that little teleport slash, which he really likes to abuse. He's weak against the Frost Tower, but I don't use it for 2 reasons. One, I find him a lot more fun to fight with the Mega Buster, since he's such a fast-paced fight. And 2, I kind of forgot he was weak to that. I knew he had a weakness, I just couldn't remember what it was. I thought it was the Ground Hunter for some reason. And if you're paying attention to my lives, I actually did die twice to him. That's just because I was trying so much stuff on him that I just gave up and went, screw it, Buster only. One thing you need to watch out for, though, with him is that he hurts. And also, when he's doing his own little dash, he doesn't hurt you. He has no hitbox. Also, I really gotta say, I like Colonel's design. Something about the spiked shoulders just really is cool to me. Though his voice is something else to be talking about. Oh boy. Impressive. But the results won't be the same next time. Until then. Colonel! And what was the point of that? Nothing! But with that pointless battle, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we'll be heading after, Web Spider, that's the one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys then.